welcome back to the Coaching Call podcast with myself, Ben, and
Lloyd.
do this every single time.
What's
So
up?
no, it's been, what's it been? It's been about a month, the last one.
Yeah, true. It's probably been quite a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, because
Time's flown by.
for between now and then, just for some context for people, obviously the last podcast we did, I just got back from Egypt, which was literally like over a month ago. Then got ridiculously sick for like 2 weeks. Then obviously personal drama with my family circumstance, and then you were in Port Marbella and then Poland for the show. So
I'm going to go to Dublin tomorrow.
Going to Dublin tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell, man! I'm jealous. Sorry for the language.
Mm.
But yeah, so it's been a bit of a hiatus, but luckily back now.
Back.
You're welcome. So yeah, we just get into it. How was Poland? How was the pro show?
Yeah, Poland's all right. Yeah, I've been travelling quite a bit recently. It's quite full on, actually. I've been, because the way I do it, I've got to do a lot of work in the week to free up a tiny bit of time, which I still work while away. So I had Marbella, then straight into Poland. But Poland itself, have you ever been to Poland?
Yeah, went to Krakow.
Yeah, I've been to
Tattoo on my
Krakow.
leg.
Oh, yeah, I've been to Krakow before. Poland's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend everybody. For me, it's like, it's all right. It was nice to see. I've been to Krakow before and it was okay. But Warsaw was all right. You know, it was nice. Did a red bus tour. That's my thing.
Oh, sick! Did you? Yeah,
always,
nice.
mate. Always.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's my hack for anyone who travels. Do the red bus tour because it essentially does all the hard work for you. I think it was €35, so probably about 30 quid. They go off on all the stops that like are worthwhile doing. So it kind of just does all the hard work for you. You don't have to do the research. It just shows you all the bits you probably want to see, and then you can jump off and see the stuff you want to see. So I did that, and it was all right, man. But yeah, the show itself was pretty cool. Mel, unfortunately, got second place in her class, which is the first time that's happened this season. She normally wins.
The athlete very good though.
The athlete, well, obviously she won, so she was like on that day, she was the better athlete for what they were looking at. Now the question is, what was what they were looking at correct?
Yeah.
Now I can't really say it wasn't correct because I'm not a judge, but they've been telling Mel to like have her hips front on essentially and not twist them too much in Fit Model. They gave it to someone whose hips were like literally sideways. So it's
typical.
You know, you can't get too frustrated about it. Well, you can get frustrated about it because it's not very consistent. I'm not sure if that's because of a new class or whether it's personal preference, whatever. But yeah, she got unlucky this time, and it is what it is. So doing Dublin, and then if that doesn't go well, we've got Alex.
Oh, she's doing the muscle contest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good show.
That's
that's a good show. Yeah.
But yeah, the show itself though is pretty good because weirdly, normally when there's pro shows on, they're a different day. But on this occasion, the amateurs, so Mel and the pros were warming up backstage, so I got to see the pros, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
so I saw some like previous Olympians just doing stuff, and I was like, oh, that is cool. So yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff going on backstage. But the show itself was good though, man. Poland, it's a smaller show, but it was good. So yeah, it was good, man. It was pretty cool.
I saw quite a lot of people that I knew did Poland. To be fair, like Chris, Monster Chris on Instagram, phenomenal classic physique.
So I did notice while I was watching the pro show that there was a British guy on stage.
He's not British. He is Polish. Kolsi. I don't know. Kolsi on Instagram is a British guy. Again, phenomenal. So a couple of people. I don't know Kolsi personally. I just know him from Instagram. But a couple of familiar faces on this at that show that I just thought that were very, very good.
Yeah.
And
the outcome for the pro show was real weird though, because I stayed for the whole thing. They went for like not a very classic look, in my opinion. They went for a bigger, drier guy.
I've heard on a podcast I was listening to, I think it was yesterday, I heard someone talk about that classic decision has been a little bit skewed. And
I've seen it a couple of times. Now.
I think someone even did on their story again on Instagram the other day. It might have even been yesterday as well. They were talking about how nowadays like classic is just slowly getting into small. It is more and more turning into just like little bodybuilders, and it's kind of like losing that morphing because people maybe not, or like certain bodybuilders not quite big enough to make it in open, so just going down to classic because they'll be one of the bigger guys in open, but it's like dwarfing the look. Because did you watch the PCA Universe?
I watched bits of it. Yeah.
Did you see the the classic tall winner?
Yeah, and he went through to the pro. And I did see
there was a bit of like speculation with that because he was up until that day, I believe, an IFBB pro.
Yeah.
So that's another whole topic of conversation I had it with Bex. Is like that's happening more and more and more now. But that's classic to a T. His look, because I was at that show. Obviously, I had Rich doing it, and obviously I'm classic tall. And I was thinking, at the end of the season doing the British, I was like, oh, I hope I do well. Saw him walk out on stage. I was like, I hope he doesn't show up.
He's a freak.
Then he turned
Absolute
pro. I was like, what?
That's kind of what I'd call an ace card. Someone who's like big,
Yeah.
lean, and
tiny,
also a tiny
and he
waist.
could backflip.
That is classic though. Yeah, he did a backflip. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, I didn't watch too much of that show, but that I did see that. But yeah, I do agree with you. A lot of the classic shows these days, they're going for bigger guys, leaner guys, and it's like I would go for shape. It was an amateur show the other day, and they went for that exact like makeup really. Bigger guy, leaner, but the shape just wasn't there. And I wouldn't say that's classic myself, but I'm also biased because that's my kind of game. Like I play shape as well. That's my when I have competed. So, but yeah, no, Poland show was good, man. It's yeah, we're gonna do another one. It's perhaps actually not been too hard on Mel's body, so we're gonna do 2 more, and that's it. We're gonna wrap it up then because she's come so close now.
Prep forever.
Nah, she can't. She's done it. It's luck from this point. So just gonna see what happens in Dublin and see what goes on from there. But
fingers crossed for both of you.
We'll see.
I hope it goes well for you.
Yeah, we'll see. But what have you been up to, man?
Well, obviously I had since the previous had Ade do his first show. He won that, which is fantastic. That was a really good outcome for us. It was a difficult peak because we definitely could have come in with more condition. But I think it's the first time you peak someone. You're always learning, and body fat comes off him a little bit slower than I anticipated. So it's literally just a case of like between that show and we were going to do the Universe, but he actually said like he'd rather not do the Universe, which was 2 weeks after, and gun for next level condition. We've changed it to a different show. We're going to do Hampshire instead, which I actually thought was the right idea because when we were coming to that peak week, I was like, the look's still sick. I was like, you got your round, your bubbly. It's peakable, which it was. Obviously, peaked it really well, but it was obvious we knew that we could have used more condition. So this time we've really gunned it, and now he's coming in more and more and more. So I'm looking forward to that one. But obviously that was a great first show of the season, and my first open bodybuilder on stage taking a win. Great outcome.
Yeah.
I had Rich on the weekend just gone in the PCA Universe. That was so unfortunate. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. Like the top 5 were all wicked, but he came 5th. So the absolute nightmare scenario happened for that one because the look on the day was still good. He was very lean, wasn't particularly full, but in the week of peak week, it's like Wednesday, or Thursday even, so a few days out when we started to load in carbohydrates, and I got a call from him, and he was basically just saying like he couldn't stomach the food. He was so full. Objectively, it wasn't much food. It was like the first day of loading, so it wasn't loads of food, and obviously in a peak week you should be able to eat everything under the sun. So I was a bit like, that's odd. So I pulled food down a little bit and then just like fed him a bit slower through the rest of the days. No real concern. What day was it? The show day was Sunday. So we first had a nightmare where he couldn't get to the venue to do his tanning on the Saturday, so he had to do his own tan, which worked fine.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, get a phone call from him early hours, like I think pre 6 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, why the hell is he calling me this early? I answer the phone and he's being sick. Like, when someone calls you when they've just been sick and it's like, blah, blah, blah. It sounded like that. And I was just like, oh. He said that he'd been sick 8 times and all of this. So like all of the food that we'd loaded with, I was like, that's gone. So I said to him, I was like, how are you feeling now? You've been unwell. And he said he felt fine. I said to him, basically, right, if you feel up to it, get some photos sent over. We'll see how you're looking. But I said to him, well, we're going to have to try and get food and water in you, obviously. Lots of water, especially because you've just been sick. If we can't, I said, I'm not putting you on stage because I was like, you pass out or be sick. Health comes first. So he sent photos. He was clearly very, very flat in the photo. So, I gave him a lot of water and then I tried to give him food. Gee. And this is where I said, like, being a coach in any regard, but especially a coach on a show day, your job is to be basically you're a problem solver. So I thought, right, we're going to stick to basics. We're not going to do anything crazy. So I said, the first meal we're just going to do, I said, we're just going to try plain chicken and rice. Couldn't put it down. Couldn't keep it down. It felt like it was going to come up with every mouthful he says. Great. So I was like, let's try something a little bit more, just like less chewing. Just apply a little bit of cream of rice. Nope. Didn't agree with him. So I was like, got to the venue at that point, see him face to face. I'm like, he's got water in him. Still haven't managed to get any food in him. But I'm like, he's looking dry, shredded. And I was like, okay, so if we can just get fullness in, because we were putting in loads of water. So I was like, you're hydrated, you've had electrolytes. So I was like, so we're all right. So I was like, right, let's try rice cakes. I said, we're not going to try any protein because protein is not going to digest well. We know that. So I was like, let's try rice cakes. Couldn't stomach them. And I was just there at this point and I was like, I can't feed my flat athlete on show day. This is a nightmare. And it was the universe. I was like, you joking? Last resort, I said to him, tank fast sticks. Like, last resort, can you put some sweets in?
Yeah, that's what I would have said.
5 at a
Something
time.
like that, yeah.
5 at a time.
Or honey.
Yeah, I did have that as the next one. I was like, 5 at a time, just tank fast sticks. Because in my head, I was like, if he can't stomach anything, I was going to have to say to him there and then, I don't feel okay with you going on stage. Even though he was saying he's all right, under those lights, no food in your system all day, being sick in the morning, it's too much of a risk. Do you know what I mean? So he was having 5 tank fast sticks at a time, and he could stomach them. And I was like, right, tank fast sticks and water it is. And literally that was all we could peak him on.
Yeah.
So in the
that's
end,
fine, though. I think that's fine.
One big bag of tank fast sticks and water. So on stage, he was just, unfortunately, he just wasn't as bubbly. His delts weren't as capped. And wasn't the result.
Because you've lost that time, haven't you? Like, trying to figure out what sits well. You've lost hours where you could have had some food in, and it's hard to catch up. Also,
me and Rich, like, we've done it a few times now with Pete. We know what works for him. So the plan, like, when you know how an athlete peaks, minor tweaks based on the day, but it's pretty much, you have an idea of how you're going to run it with that person. They're checking at this time. We know roughly, like last time we peaked him really well on the order of chicken, rice, peanut butter. Then we had some banana jam, banana rice cakes and chicken. So I had that in mind, but I was just going to do like quantities and stuff like that. When all of that got thrown out and then nothing else would go in, I was just like, and at that point, it's just like, try this. We found it, but yeah, so that was...
Yeah, honey would have been a last resort, I would have said, because it's so light on the stomach. That's what I've done with
the only problem with honey that I had in this particular scenario, which is why I didn't want to put honey on the rice cakes either. Honey is very high volume carb, and like you could get down 100 grams of carbs like that. If he did that and then he was sick, because it made him sick, he'd have like 100 grams of carbs to be sick just from squirting that down. Whereas like, at least if you have to chew something, you can control how quick. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I was more concerned with just making sure that nothing came up. It didn't upset his stomach, but it was a tough prep. It was a tough peak, to say the least. It was running so smoothly as well. I remember seeing him like 2 days out. Like after he had a little bit of discomfort, the next day I saw him in the gym and I was like, let's have a look. And I was like, on the money. And I was like, you're going to be really, really, really impressive up on that stage. It was just on the show day. If it's the day after, fuck it.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of my wrap up. Not really much.
Sort of working a lot
else has happened. Yeah. I've had a few like things change in the pipeline with like a couple of like clients wanting to change trajectory or change their plans here and there, because some of them, like the girls for example, were in growing phases and quite happy to do that. I think some of them have like now booked last minute holidays, so that they want to compete. They want to like cut down a little bit, so you accommodate for that. So just the general summertime vibe for coaching, which is basically everyone wants to get lean.
Yeah, and that's the topic for this video.
That is the topic for this video. Do you like what I did there?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't actually do that intentionally.
I'd
love to say that I did that intentionally, but
yeah, that's what we're on about. This video is how to handle summer, really. It's kind of a curveball for a lot of people, and how you handle the summer can really affect your trajectory for long-term results as well, I would say. Because if you go into summer the wrong way and go into a holiday or kind of handle a holiday the wrong way, you can put 4, 5, 6 kilos back on pretty quickly, and then you're going into your next training phase in not a great space. So, I mean, how do you want to do this, man? Do you want to say, like, what's your biggest advice for someone moving into summer?
I think, like,
I'll say mine.
If we look at like biggest advice for summer, well, the cliche advice, I think we both agree on this. I think any coach would agree on. Just be ready before summer starts, because you're not going to make progress through summer unless you are someone who's willing to sacrifice. So, for example, I had a guy who came to me just when his life was getting a bit more summery, and weekends were very much going to bars, beer gardens, barbecues, things like that. And when that becomes the circumstance, it's very easy with the right accountability to maintain your position through that. If you can have 3 days off of the weekend, 4 days on in the week, and maintain really easily. Progressing forward, it's not going to happen. So I think making sure that you get ahead of the curve, and if you do think that you actually want to like look a certain way in summer, put the work in before it. But I think that's like a very standardized piece of advice.
Yeah, I'd say so because, the worst case scenario is you run out of time. That's the worst case scenario. You run out of time. You're not in shape for your holiday. That's not ideal, but you want to give yourself a good amount of time because, and I'm a big fan of ideally reverse dieting into a holiday, just because I've said this on a video recently. I can't remember what I posted. I think it was TikTok, but I know it was on my Instagram as well. If you were to go away on your lowest calories and your highest steps, highest cardio for a holiday, especially if that's like an all-inclusive holiday, the difference is going to be huge.
Yeah,
the surplus you're kind of setting yourself up for is potentially a 4, 5, 6 kilo gain. And I've done that once or twice where I'm pretty good with my food. I'm pretty good with my expenditure and keep it on track of that. Even I've put on a decent chunk of weight before, and that's kind of annoying for when you get back to kind of undo that. So
what's the worst you've ever put on?
So after my, not the last prep, the prep before that, I went to Turkey. I think it was 6 weeks after my show. Now,
oh wow,
I reverse dieted really well, but actually too well, to the point where I stayed too lean. And when I did go away, it was all inclusive, which I actually actively don't do all inclusive holidays anymore, just because there's so much on offer. There's so much food like put in front of you that you feel like you need to try. You're kind of, the environment you've created for yourself is now you're like destined to lose. It's just not going to happen, right? Like even if you don't really, I'm not a big dessert guy, but I'm looking at the desserts, I'm thinking I want to try that, and they're never as good as they look.
No, I've
put on a lot of weight. Yeah,
I relate to that.
But they never look. So you see the cakes, they look good, but they're just not good. They're just not. You see, oh, this cake looks good, and you bite into it. It's not even a cake. It's like a mousse situation.
Do you know what the biggest thing about that as well is? The reason that they taste better than they look and than they actually are is because with an all-inclusive holiday, it all seems free.
Yeah.
Like when you go up to a bar, even it's like, I remember the first all-inclusive I ever did. It was only a few years ago. Like obviously the concept was lost on me. I'd only ever gone on just like normal style holidays. So when we were there, I remember asking the person I went with and just being like, do I need to take any money out? And they were like, no, nothing. I was like, nothing. And they were like, nothing. And I didn't believe it until I got there. And I was just like, everything's free. Even though you dropped thousands for the holiday, everything's free. Everything's free. Yep. So it tastes better because it's free.
Yeah. But what actually happened? I think I put on 8 kilo. Because again, I went away and I was like, oh my goodness, the difference between my current calories and what I'd be eating is not going to be too different. And I still did loads of steps, still trained. I think we did like a couple of spin sessions as well that were there. And I still managed to put on 8 kilo. Luckily, 5 of that came off with water. And I realised now in hindsight, it was just very salty stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's a video somewhere on Mel's TikTok where she actually recorded what I was eating. And I was following the same principles that I give to clients. You want to have like a health plate first to kind of just take the edge off the hunger. Then you go into the nicer stuff and just kind of, if it's not good, I mean, I'm not a big guy for wasting food, but like I'm of the belief that your body is more important than wasting the food. I know people always say like, look, children in Africa could have had that. No, they couldn't. No, there's not like a shoot in your house
exactly.
Or there's nothing like sending this food to Africa. Like, so I'm a big fan of like, if it's not good food, like don't put that in your body, right? Just leave it. But I put on 8 kilo, and I got 5 there off, which would indicate it's mostly water, but I did put a good 2 kilo on. It looks still okay, but that showed me that I didn't reverse diet quick enough. I didn't take my calories quick enough. So I went away too dieted, and that's something I'm cautious with clients now. If we go away too lean, they've just got to know, like, you're kind of setting yourself up for a bit of a fat loss stage when you get back, which some people mentally aren't in the headspace to do that when they get back, because the big goals come and gone. So that's my big tip for most people, is to make your life a hell of a lot easier on holiday and not putting weight back on, is try and go away on higher calories, really, if you can.
Without a doubt. You could, that's why the one piece of advice I give people as much as I can, ironically, literally have just done that with one of my clients now. We got him very, very lean. He's very lean right now for holiday, which is fantastic. And I've said to him, he goes away in 2 weeks Wednesday. So I said to him, ironically as well, or fantastically, his check-in day is a Wednesday. So I said to him, this Wednesday, what we're probably going to do is we'll do this last week, we'll dig now, because he's got a bit of antics at the weekend where he's going away for the weekend. So a bit more food. So I said, okay, we'll keep running the low-calorie approach today, and what will be tomorrow. Then the weekend he'll be off, and then Monday, Tuesday, back to baseline, just account for that weekend. Wednesday, we'll start putting food up. He asked me, he said, do you not think it's worth just continuing to push for the extra 2 weeks of the holiday so that I can go on holiday this lean? And I said, you're going to go on holiday this lean. I was like, no doubt. But I said, you're not going to go on holiday this hungry. And that's the big one for me.
Yeah.
I don't actually think going away too lean is the problem. It's too hungry. And dependent on someone's kind of like mentality, because I think most people who get as lean as we're like both picturing in our heads will have a moderate source of discipline that, as long as they're not really hungry, won't just hit the effort button. So going away lean isn't as much of a problem as, like, my example is I gained 1 year, this was years ago, after my first show, about 14 kilos after that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Damn.
Now
That's a lot of weight.
that was a lot, but it was just all water and fat, let's be honest, you know? And that was a horrendous rebound approach, because I literally just decided, because I dropped the people who were helping me prep, because I basically just looked at the objective eye, like I told you about the PED protocol. I was just like, I'm going to do this myself.
Not enough.
Huh?
Not enough
No,
drugs.
no, far too much.
I'm joking.
Far
I'm
too much.
joking.
Yeah. I was going to say, no, far too much. And so I then went to like just came out, in essence, just rebounded, because I said I pulled the PDs down, and then in my head I was like, I'm going to compensate for the PDs going down. I'm just going to eat, and I just ate. And I went away really, really hungry, really hungry.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day I got there, and I hadn't obviously drunk alcohol in months either, and so I had like drinks. I went to a vending machine, and we went for lunch. I got burgers, chips. I think I got like 2 plates of that, but beers, cocktails, like just forcing it in. As we were leaving that place, bear in mind we'd got a dessert there. There was a vending machine that had like packet brownies in the scorching hot Spanish sun. That doesn't sound appetizing at all, but in my head I wanted them, so I got a couple of those. I ate them. I didn't make it to dinner that night because I was laying on the bed with such a like bloated stomach with food. I was in a complete food coma.
That feels horrible. I did the very first all-inclusive holiday I ever did. We dieted for me and Mel. We dieted for the holiday. Oh shit! That's
it cost me a fortune.
You're just buying the food.
Just saying, yeah.
I'm just going to buy loads of food.
I did.
But yeah, I happened to be on the first holiday. I think it was a combination of things. Went away lean. My digestion was sensitive because I was on quite low calories. And when you go from low calories to high calories, it's a bit of a curveball. But I think that the food at all inclusive was really high in fat. Like a lot of the food is like caked in oil. Yeah. So I tell clients, I'm like, listen, for a number of reasons, you kind of want to avoid the oily stuff. Like, you know, it's going to wreck your digestion, and it's hella calories, like loads of calories.
So I watched. I didn't even watch. I knew someone who went away when they were on prep one time. They're actually a very good bodybuilder, so it worked for them. But they said whenever they went to any restaurant or because they went all inclusive, so whenever they went to any place with the food, they got a bowl of water that, like, if they got the prawns.
Oh, they dunk it.
They would wash all the oil and all the sauce off, so they just got the prawns.
That's good. It's a bit weird, but it's a good idea.
That is purely, if you're watching this, do not take that as advice. That's like a very, very prep. Like, in any other aspect, I would maybe borderline argue eating disorder, unless you're on bodybuilding prep for a competition. Yeah. But the moral of that story is there are things you can do. There are things you can do.
Always.
But the other moral of the story is, if you are watching this and you think you've had really bad holiday experiences where you put on way too much weight or this and that, it happens to everyone. I don't think there's a single coach out there who is telling the truth who will say that they have not had that experience once. Because once you do it once, you don't do it again.
Yeah, I've got pictures on my phone where my stomach is like bloated in pictures because I just went away and thought, I'll just eat it, whatever. Yeah. And it just hit my stomach so hard and never again. That's why, we actively don't do all-inclusive now. No. That's what I would say is, if you're listening to this and you're someone that does struggle with food and struggles to like manage their eating, putting yourself in a situation where you have unlimited food and lots to choose from, I wouldn't say that's a very good idea. No, personally, I know people don't want to hear that, and it's a holiday, you should let loose, but like, it's still in your life, like it's still happening. Like you're not just going to close your eyes and like think that that's going to happen, that you're going to eat a lot of food and there's going to be a downside to that, right? But I don't really book them too much anymore now. No, that's all. Well, if we do, it'll be half board actually. Yeah, they're good. So we control breakfast, and I think it's like lunch and dinner, or maybe just lunch. Yeah, dinner? I don't know, but I also don't like the idea of being like stuck in a hotel the whole time. Personally, no. Like, if I'm in it depends where you are. Like, obviously, when I went to Egypt, it was all inclusive, and I still did all right with the food. I came back the same way. But that you have to be in a resort really for most of the time because it's not the safest place to go. Oh yeah. Same as like Mexico. Yeah. I mean? So, but if you're going to Spain, I wouldn't want to do all inclusive. But that actually leads on to like following question as well that we can talk about, which is
to what degree do you think control on holiday when it comes to food and training, like routine, like normal routine on holiday, like controlling
okay.
your attitude and your behavior on holiday? Where's your ground on that? Say, let's use the example, you've got a client, let's call them Cameron. I don't have a client called, I do have a client called Cameron. But Cameron's not this individual. Let's use a name that we don't have. Let's call him Drogon, the dragon of Game of Thrones. Drogon, okay? He's going away on holiday, all right? He's not quite reached his goal weight yet, or his goal look yet. But he's happy to continue the cut afterwards. What would your advice be to Drogon in that situation?
So he doesn't want to continue the cut after the holiday?
No, he's happy to continue it after the holiday.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, if we haven't done things the best way possible, in that I'd like to taper someone's calories up so they can go through the holiday, ideally stay within a kilo of their weight, which has happened to someone recently. I know you gave an example earlier. I've had exactly that situation where someone dieted down. He was a bit of a stubborn individual. We had him on 1,600 calories, but we don't count veg. So it's like, it was the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Got him really lean. He was photo shoot lean, essentially, like striations in his lats, even though he wasn't doing a photo shoot, which would have been great to get him in on one. But we got him up to, I think it was 2,400 or 2,600 calories in a very short period before we went to Las Vegas. But he came back exactly the same weight as he went away, which normally I like to be honest, I like to see a kilo gain, because that shows that someone's gone away, enjoyed some food, come back with a little bit of water retention because they've enjoyed themselves, enjoyed some food, but he just happened to come back in an even better situation, the same weight, and we could just crack on. So that would be the dream situation. But if that's not the case, and someone's happy to do a couple of weeks after, I essentially give them guidelines for them to decide on, because I don't like to tell people how to live their life. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give strategies to make things easier and more efficient for themselves, right? So I give them the options. I have a resource for this actually called the High Performance Travel. It's like a high performance travel guide, right? And there's options on the tiers of training you can go for, and you choose that. And there's options for like how you want to handle it. But I give recommendations. Whether someone follows them or not is up to them. What I really like to do is reflect on how they handled it. So I always ask people when they come back, how do you feel about how you handled that holiday? Because that could go one way or the other. It could be, I enjoyed it, put on 4 kilo, but I absolutely loved it. It was a holiday I'll remember for my whole life. Great time with the family, happy days. If that's the case, then cool. We'll bite the bullet in terms of the extra 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 weeks of fat loss. We've got to get off there, right? If they've said that they're not happy and they put on 6, 7 kilo, and now it's added 2, 3 months onto their fat loss phase because now they're not motivated after, that's a learning curve. That's one where we learn from and say, listen, can't do anything about that now, but you can do something about the next holiday. You can do something, and do the same with social events as well. If someone's not happy with how they've handled a social event, maybe it wasn't as memorable of an event as they thought it'd be. And same goes for holidays. If it was just like a very meaningless holiday that they're probably going to forget, putting on 4, 5, 6 kilo from just eating and drinking, whatever, that's something I'm not. I don't think that's made your life better.
No.
I think that's potentially made your life worse when you zoom out. So understanding that's kind of how I approach it. It's more on the reflection of it than actually giving them strict guidelines beforehand, because it's kind of up to them what they want to do, right? That's what I normally say.
It's similar for me. Like I've always had just kind of like textbook when it comes to it, unless again it completely depends on who the athlete is in relation to their goal trajectory. My bodybuilding clients, I tend to have a little bit more of a, dependent on where they're at in their phase. If I've got a client who is about to start prep and they're going on a holiday before they start prep, I'll be a little bit more like, please don't completely ruin your digestion. Please don't completely stop training. Try keep some resemblance of, routine in. If they're straight post-show, which I had last year, I might say to them, don't just throw everything in you, because again, your digestion is going to be piss poor. You're going to set up your off season terribly. So they're a prep client, I'd be a little bit more, but then most of the time I'm not too concerned about them, not training or not doing this, or they'll keep their routine without me kind of saying it. They know they know what to expect. Whereas on a more general basis, I say to all of my clients when they're about to go away, anything you do, I kind of account for the 2 or 3 to 1 rule when it comes to time off to time on. I believe that based on my experience, if we use 1 week for an example, 1 week of poor habits, I do believe can be undone with, dependent on the degree to which you take it seriously, 2 to maybe 3 weeks of good habits. You can undo it or even progress through it. Some people might argue 1 to 1. But I'm assuming for like a holiday where kind of like there's alcohol in you, there's a lot of stuff has gone on, So I always say there's always a pullback. It's not going to be progression. It's not going to be regression forever. So what I say to people is, when it comes to your food, I say look more towards the 3-meal option. It's going to be hot most of the time when people are going away, so probably appetite's not going to be as high. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. With each one of those meals, I just say try and prioritize, number one, the protein source you're having on it, whatever it is. Because like in Spain, if I go away, this year's gonna be different because if I go to Spain, it'll be on prep, so just be meal plan. Usually when I go away to Spain, dinner, I'll always have fish, some sort of fish, because I love fish. And there'll probably be potatoes or something. So naturally, that's me already thinking about the protein source first, as opposed to the carb source, which again just makes you think about the nice food you can eat still, without it just being like, well, I can't wait to have chips later. But at the same time, I do say to them, if there's something you want, you are on holiday, don't not enjoy it because you're scared about progress or regression. And then I just say, try and stay active. Wherever you're going, especially if you've not been there before, get out on foot and see as much of it as you can.
Yeah.
Steps, ramp them up.
That's my big one.
Yeah. Ramp them up, get as many steps as possible. Because you look at people like Jack eats, the reason he can eat that much is does like 30,000 steps a day. So get the steps up, walk on the beach, go swimming, be active. And as long as you're active, you're absolutely sound. From a training perspective, again, I say to them, if you have a hotel gym, fantastic. If you can get in there and keep doing what you're doing, fantastic. If you want to just have the time off, that's fine. We'll call it a deload. We'll freshen you up. But again, that just means stay active when you're there. So
yeah,
it's just kind of like a generalized, I want to take the pressure off, because sometimes with a lot of people as well, they'll benefit from a period of time where they have less pressure, where they can live almost like a completely normal person. So I steer towards that, but it depends on the attitude that the client has going into it.
I think it depends on the client a lot, actually, which I didn't mention. Like you mentioned that, like from the competitor viewpoint there, which that obviously is a little bit different, because if you put 3, 4, 5, 6 kilo on, that could derail your timeline and stretch your fat loss phase out even further, delay your gaining phase, and it messes up even maybe next year's competing, right? So that's a much bigger problem, which I only have a handful of clients now that do kind of as advanced physique development to compete now. But for those individuals, I'm a little bit stricter. I'm a little bit firm. I had a guy go away last week, I think it was actually, and he's starting prep soon. I said, we got to keep this thing under control, So
Jack.
Yeah, it was Jack.
Yeah,
I was like,
good.
you gotta make sure we don't mess up here, because it's gonna derail prep. So there's certain people I'm a little bit firm with, but I do have some very interesting reviews on holidays, actually, because I see some people, they really see a holiday as an escape, and I know a lot of people will probably agree, like, yeah, that's what it is. You just have a week off, chill out one day. My point here, though, is why are you escaping from your life?
Yep, that's exactly. I knew you were going to say that.
Why have you created a life that you feel like you need to escape from? That I find really, really concerning.
Weather, I get it.
Yeah, the weather. So that's my
climate.
personal view. When I look at a holiday, I'm moving my current life that I absolutely love. I love the routine I create myself. I love every day. Moving that over to a different country. That is the goal.
Perfect.
That is a holiday.
Yeah,
I might have some extra different food or whatever. That's fine, but I don't feel the need to drink loads. I don't feel the need to like overeat loads of stuff and be bloated and come back in worse shape, like much, much worse shape, and feeling worse than I went out there. That doesn't make sense to me. And I feel like that's not a holiday problem. And I think people would look at coaches and be like, oh, you don't want to be told what to do on holiday. But I think the original problem is like, have we created a life that we really, really enjoy enough to not need to escape from? That's something I think doesn't get spoken about enough, to be honest with you.
And what you just said there as well, we said like, oh, coaches, you don't want to be told what to do on holiday. That's never, like what I said, with my approach it is simply that I'm not going to tell you what to do on holiday, but if you're going to go away on holiday and you are going to hit the F it button, don't be disappointed when you come back having gained, because I've had it before in the past loads of times. You go on holiday, they go absolutely mad. You don't hear from them at all. And I say to people, if you want to check in on holiday, I'm here. I'm here to still coach you, but I'm not going to chase you while you're on holiday, because I'm going to give you time to chill. If you want to, I'm here. So it's an open service. If you need it, it's here. If you don't, cool, chat to you when you're back. When people come back and then they're like in absolute dismay because everything's gone to tits, and I'm just like, you're an adult. You've chosen to do this. I think sometimes people forget that we're adults, and it's like, if you're an adult person and you've got your choices, it's one of those things. It's like it's a complete tangent here, but it's like when people don't check in on time. I just think, how? It's not that tough.
Yeah.
Like with Cuba, I've never once not checked in on time with Cuba because he told me at the start, photos and check-in form on a Tuesday, please. I'll do your check-in on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, it's beside the point. But that's the thing, like, you're adults. So if you're going to go away on a holiday and you're going to just absolutely, you're going to go for breakfast, you're going to have pancakes every day, you're going to have ice cream throughout the day, you're going to have crisps and lays and Fantas and beers and cocktails and dinner and lunch and all this stuff for an extended period of time, you're going to come back and you're not going to be where you were when you left.
It is childish when you think about it.
It is very childish.
Like,
you're eating like a child for a time being.
So the thing is, if a child was to do that, let's say,
Yeah.
there's probably parents out there that drink loads on holiday, eat loads on holiday. If their child was to do that and drink, say, obviously not booze, but drink like 8 pints of orange juice.
Yeah, yeah. What a comparison.
It's just not. You'd be like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Why are you necking so much orange juice? But if that's pints, that's fine.
I had this exact conversation with one of my clients on one of their check-ins the other day. I won't say his name. He probably wouldn't mind me saying it, but I'm not. He'll know who it is. He'll message me and be like, "Oh, that was me," because he needed to fix his diet a little bit. He needed to fix his quite a fair bit, and he had a kid. So I was like, you know, when you're going out and you're on the tools, as he says, I was like, you're saying that like, oh, you're just quick and convenient this, quick and convenient that, and that it's easier for you to be quick and convenient. I said, if your kid came home from school 3 times a week and said to you, Dad, can I have a McDonald's for dinner? What would you say? If then at lunchtime they were saying, oh, Dad, I'm just gonna, can I go into the supermarket, buy full fat Coke, a sandwich and a cake? What are you going to say? You're not going to let your kid do that, are you? So why are you letting yourself do that? And
Exactly.
it's that.
Exactly, man.
So I think sometimes because free will as an adult and adult money and no kind of like person to kind of like steer you in a direction of how to live your life, like even coaches, I say this all the time, I cannot force you to stick to what I say. There's the plan. This plan will work. I can't sit over your shoulder and make you do it.
Yep.
You're an adult. You should do it.
Mate, people need to be reminded more that they're adults because honestly, I think, you know, when you first turn to an adult, like when I was 16 or whatever.
That what you consider an adult? I feel like I only became a mature adult when I was like 23.
Well, no, I'm just thinking like when I was like 15, 16, when you're like out doing whatever you want, I suppose, that's when I realized, oh, I can go to the shop and buy like a whole pack of jam tarts and see it off. I did do that. I did that. But I was 15 and 16 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't carry on doing that in life.
No.
I realized that, wow, this is not what I should be doing, right? And seeing off packs of jam tarts left, right, and centre, that's not the life I want to have. That's not the physique I want to have. You know, I gotta rein that in.
Yeah.
Not that I do that very often, but that I just feel like some adults haven't grasped that concept yet, and they're just not eating the vegetables that they need to just be not vitamin and mineral deficient. They're just not having protein. I think a lot of people, it's a knowledge thing as well, that they don't understand the detriment. You know, they don't ever look at their blood work and actually see the damage here. But yeah, I just feel like a lot of people just live, especially when it comes to nutrition, just terrible choices, like children, worse than children sometimes.
And that's where, like you were saying, I know it's a little tangent, but it's all relevant because that is exactly what a lot of adults do on holiday.
Yeah.
Because exactly like you said, when you're saying my routine when I'm on holiday, it's that people often ask me, like, oh, why do you do check-ins on holiday? I'm like, because I genuinely like my routine. I like my routine. I like doing my check-ins. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, we're all human. Some days I'm like either like in a bit of a bad mood, or I've slept on the wrong side of the bed. Like I'm quite tired today, for example. I woke up this morning, the heat the last couple of days, and then last night that thunderstorm.
Yeah, it was weird.
Running on very little sleep. I'm quite tired. So today would have been lovely to just have a morning of doing nothing. But I still enjoy doing my check-ins. I did the check-ins with the people. It's all positive. Love it. So I don't mind doing it on holiday. If I don't want to do them on holiday, then I'll say to my clients, I'm just going to push this week, or I'm going to take a week off. They never mind.
Yeah.
But I like my routine, and that's the same with training, and it's the same with nutrition to a degree. When I'm on holiday, I do relax a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but
you're on so high calories that you can get away with it. You're a good example of someone who, because you've built your food up so high over the years of putting on so much lean mass that, you know, you're in a good position. But I just think a lot of people, they're trying to escape a life where, I mean, there's two things you said there. Yeah, they're trying to escape a life they've built that they're not necessarily happy with. That's probably not a holiday problem. It's probably like a life problem that you probably need to kind of take the reins a little bit a little bit firmer there. But yeah, and also people are just childish on holiday for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's spot on. One thing I would also want to say here is, this is probably a controversial one, is when people go on holiday to like escape or whatever, I would have thought being abroad and being away from the stresses and like not working, having food prepped for you and just being in a very low stress environment, I thought that would be enough. I don't understand the extra layer of drinking lots then. Because surely you're in a great situation. It's amazing, different countries, seeing all this, great weather. And then, you're layering like booze on top of it, which is then going to mess up your sleep. You're going to be hungover the next day. And then you're coming back from your holiday not refreshed. I don't understand that bit very much.
What country do you live in, bro?
Yeah.
The
UK,
yeah. The UK.
That's very true.
That is the
That's
answer.
what it comes down to. We're all brainwashed.
Yeah.
And I feel like people forget that. Like it's yeah.
Have you? I agree with that. My dad's typical one. We go on holiday, and we're just chilling there randomly at the pool, and we've just been laying there. He'll come up from the beach or wherever the hell we've been. He'll be like, oh, I'm so hot, I'm sunburned, I'm tired. We'll go get a beer. Just a beer. And it's like we just finished dinner and like, oh, I'm so full. Yeah, I couldn't eat another thing. Beer. It's just drinking culture in the UK.
It is, isn't it?
It's actually funny because I saw this this guy, it's a comedian, I believe it was, describing alcohol. It made me raw because it's so true. It's so true. Where if someone modern day pitched the idea of alcohol wasn't a thing. They pitched the idea to Shark Tank. No one is investing in that because if they what alcohol is coming up to investors and going, I've got this idea for a drink. Does it hydrate you? No, it dehydrates you. Oh, it also will make you completely emotionally distant and unable to control your actions. Okay. Does it at least taste really nice? Not really. Unless you mix it with stuff, then it'll taste quite nice. Okay. And what does it make you more productive the next day? No. You're going to feel sick. You're going to have a hangover. And your productivity for a day, maybe 2, maybe more days, is going to be completely impaired. Would you like to invest in my product? You're going to say no.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it, man, because honestly, we're fine, but people are brainwashed to spend a lot of money. I read a fact actually the other day. The average British person, not even a heavy drinker, average British person spends £70,000 in their lifetime on alcohol. And £70,000. Yeah, I know, right? And all I'm thinking is how much that could have benefited their life. And I often think, there's a lot of people out there that I'm going to use it as an example, it's just off the top of my mind, but people that don't want to invest in a coaching service. We've spoken to people that they're like, oh, I really need the help. I need this to change my life, but I just don't invest the money yet, or they say they can't afford it. But we're looking at these statistics saying, hang on, across a lifetime, people are investing this amount of money in something that's actually making your life worse, potentially, right?
Yeah.
Make it add up. It's one of those, man. It's, it's an interesting fact.
I had this conversation with one of Hayley. Obviously, I brought into the team now. She's one of my co-coaches.
Yeah.
We were talking about this exact concept because I said, people don't understand. Like, I think nowadays, the cheapest you're going to find a coach, really, is about $150, $175 per month. That's cheap coaching nowadays. And some people might charge less, but they cannot be providing you the service that anyone else can. Like, I would be able to charge less, maybe if it was my part-time job, but then you can only contact me before 9 a.m. and after 5.
Even then, I think you would actually charge more because you've got less time available. So
exactly.
I don't think that makes sense either. Yeah.
And because we were doing the math, and I said to them, like, when people are like, oh, that's too much money. And I'm like, one, you break it down. Let's do this. Do the math quick because you can break it down. And so let's say it's 175. By 30 days. Oh, I just times this. It's not 5,200 a day. It's 175 divided by 30. You're looking at £5.80 a day. It might sound like quite a lot of money, but then what I say as well is, what will you require from a coach that doesn't justify £5 a day? Because, for example, if you're someone who's going to message a coach daily or ask a lot of questions, you're getting check-ins, you're getting plan updates, you're doing this, you want to pay them less than £5 a day?
I mean, I wouldn't even think of the service, right? Think about the detriment to your life when you don't do anything. If you don't take action,
Oh,
that's the one
yeah.
I don't understand. And unfortunately, the Revolution Fitness, the gym I've been training at, I think it's been open 8-9 years now, right? And there's certain individuals in there that, I hate to say this, they either haven't changed or maybe they don't want to change. That's fair enough, but they haven't changed. Some people have actually regressed in their physique, and I can only assume in their health, right? Now, all that comes to mind is that if they would have potentially, I don't know what the limitation would be for some individuals, but for some people, dropping the ego is one of them. For some people, it's actually being more financially kind of clued up in where they're actually putting their funds, not putting it towards junk food and booze like a lot of people do, and putting it towards something that's actually going to benefit their life. If they were to do it just for 6 months, they would have changed. Like, if they say they did that for that first 6 months of the last 9 years, they'd have had 8.5 years of benefiting from having better knowledge with nutrition, training, recovery, whatever, actually having gotten results and had their mindset change on what they can actually achieve. They'd have changed their lives just because of that one decision to invest in a coaching service. So I would say, instead of saying how much it costs for the service per day or whatever, which, I know some people do that, but
I didn't say that to
the
people.
the results that people could get. The way it changes the trajectory of life. Like I think that way because I've had mentors myself, right? Not necessarily coaches in terms of fitness, but mentors for a number of different things, right? And I always think, am I operating at am I working on the trajectory that I want to be? If not, something needs to change. And if there's no new inputs coming in, nothing is going to change. So that's where having a coach or a mentor, that's what really changed the game for most people, in my opinion, right?
Yeah. It's like what you said there as well with completely lost my train of thought.
Well, we're not actually talking. We've gone off on a tangent. What are we talking about? We're talking about summer. How do you handle summer? You taper carries up, ideally. That's what you're trying if you've got enough time. We're pretty loose. Well, not loose. We give recommendations to holidays, but it's kind of up to the individual.
I think guidelines, like you said, the right word. Guidelines. I think the one non-negotiable I ask for my clients, because it's not that much to ask for, is I do say I want to see your steps nice and high. All of my clients, get out, get moving. That's not even just me being a coach. I'm like, don't miss out on seeing where you're going. Like, if you're going somewhere and there's some beautiful architecture, like even Marbella, if you haven't walked around Old Town, go and do that. It's stunning. Get some steps in. Don't be a lazy bastard.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I agree, man. Again, I've had some clients that have got away with absolute murder with nutrition because they've done high steps, and it just makes sense. Like, I don't understand people who go away to sit down and do nothing. Like,
unless you're absolutely cooked. Like, you've just had 3 months where you've been working 16-hour shifts on a construction site. Fair enough. Go lay down for a week, bro.
Yeah. So that comes back to, like, how many trips away do you have as well, right? Yeah. So for us, I travel quite a bit. So for me to go off the rails every holiday would kind of be crazy.
True.
I have clients. I've got one client that comes to mind. He goes away two times every month, right? With work, but it's like also a holiday at the same time, right? And if he was to go off the rails every single time, that's not manageable. That's probably 2-3 months of your year where you're going on a high calorie period, potentially more. So, I think it depends on how many times you go away. If you're going away just for the 1 week, sometimes I'm a little bit more lenient. Like, go on, do what you want. We'll, face whatever repercussions are when you get back. But that changes things a little bit. I'm a big fan of the steps. That's one for me. Like, it generally works with a good holiday, and I've seen it work so well for certain people. Like 1,000 steps burns about 30 to 50 calories for most people on the average person, right? In the average kind of weight bracket. So, if you're doing an extra 5-10k steps, that's a decent chunk of extra calories, right? Training, I'm a big fan of training abroad. I put a video about this up on TikTok, I think it was the other day as well, saying how that training, when food's going in and you're in a low stress environment and you've got more time in your hands, I think that's a good time to train. If it's a holiday, I think that's a good time. It might not be a full training split, sure, but I generally say a good time to train. The only time it's not is if it's like a traveling holiday and you actually need to utilize that time. Like, if I'm going for a 3 or 4 day weekend away, then I probably don't want to do my full training split. Luckily, I normally do that Friday to Sunday or Thursday to Sunday when I do that, and that's normally just overlapping my one full body session. So I get to go to a cool gym, do my full body session, and that's kind of me ticked off then. What else is there to talk about summer, mate?
Well, I was going to say, with because this is actually something that I've had conversations this week, because this week has obviously been, for context for people watching this is the week that it's been really hot.
Yeah, it is currently like the 28th of May.
Yeah, 28th of May. And it was in the 30s the last
32, 33 degrees. Yeah.
And I said to a lot of people, when weather gets like this, you're in a really good position where we can actually capitalize on more cardio. Sounds counterproductive, but hear me out in a second. And lower food. Because naturally, people's appetites go down when it's hot. People don't want to eat as much. So even some people that maybe are eating 5 meals and get away with having 4 meals. Might not be as optimal or whatever, but it works. Cardio wise, I don't know what it is. You'd think that when it's hot and it's less comfortable to do cardio, people are less motivated. I find the complete opposite. When it's hot, I find people's mentality towards cardio goes up because they feel like they're actually doing cardio for a reason, which is burning, sweating. But for some reason, people still have this association with the more I sweat, the more I burn. So because people sweat so much doing cardio, like I had a message from a client the other day who has hated cardio the entire, when do we like October through to now, hated cardio. It was like, oh, I just did 90 minutes on the Stairmaster, and I was like, why? It was like, oh, I just got such a sweat on. I loved it, and I was like, okay,
90 minutes, damn. I've never done no more than 15 minutes on the Stairmaster.
But she just did it. That's not programmed. She just did it for fun. So, and that's a trend I've seen. Like year after year, I've seen it. More people they're like, oh, I'm happy to do more cardio, bro, because it's getting sunny out, and they're like, I want to sweat more, I want to burn more, and it's just that mentality switch. So I don't know if that's something you see, and you tell people to capitalize on is basically moving more when it gets hotter or not.
Yeah. I normally tell people when the weather's good, get out more, utilize the steps, and I think in the summertime, obviously, getting out, getting sunlight exposure and stuff, there's lots of benefits to that for circadian rhythm and stuff. So I do normally encourage people to do that. Yeah.
Just remember this:
hydration.
I literally, this was full when I got here.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because I am in here, I am sweating. I'm hot.
It's not cool in here for sure. But what else is there to talk about summer? I think we covered most of it.
Really much to talk about when it comes to summer. I think that's pretty well rounded. I don't know because I mean, I'm trying to think of any like specific examples, but I think the most part when it comes to summer is just the key one is just get yourself ready early, because when summer actually comes around, and I mean both of us have been doing this for 10 years, haven't we? More than 10 years.
Yeah.
Without fail, no one really will capitalize on optimal progress through summer. It does slow down as summer gets deeper, because people naturally, you get invited to more events such as like barbecues, drinking culture in the UK, especially if you're a working individual. I feel like going into summer already set up, just that is without a doubt, that will never change as my attitude of that is how you want to do it. If you want to get ready for summer, get ready for summer. Don't get ready in summer, because like I still get people inquiring like now, and they're like, oh, I want to get in shape for my holiday.
That's the annoying one.
I'm like,
holidays in 8 weeks.
When's your holiday? And they're like, oh, it's at the end of July. I'm like, right, so we've got 8 weeks. I'm like, from where you are now to where you're telling me you want to be, you need to be 8 weeks basically living like a bodybuilder on prep
through summer.
Are you going to do that? No. And then you're going to be disappointed with the results at the end of the 8 weeks.
And they're going to have to diet again when they go on holiday, because they're ravenous, they've dieted so hard. And it's just like, oh my God.
That's the thing. It's doable, but you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And because that's what I say, I say it all the time to people when they come to me with unrealistic expectations. I say, right, okay. They're like, oh, is it possible to achieve this? Yeah, but you're not going to enjoy it. We can do it if you want to. It's going to suck. It's like that.
Yeah. I know the best thing I ever put into play with clients, this is years ago when I did this, probably about 4 years ago, was like a full year plan. Whether I'm working with for a full year
I always do that
with a client or not, it doesn't matter. But it's creating a vision on and an understanding on what's happening now, what's happening when their goal comes, and also after that. And that's one thing I would say for those of you that are kind of working towards a goal for this summer or whatever, is make sure you've got the next goal plan, the next goal, the next timeline, the next deadline, because a lot of people, especially after a holiday, they haven't got a good enough reason why, especially if they put on a few kilo, they need to go back into a fat loss phase. They need that timeline and those deadlines set. It's Parkinson's law, right? A goal will kind of fill the amount of time that it has to fill, essentially, right? So if you're not setting strict deadlines and timeframes for stuff to get done by, you just won't be motivated to get back into shape. And then you're going through the Christmas events, not looking how you want to, coming into next year, having not made progress because you've just been kind of cruising along, unhappy with the way you look, rolling into next year to do the same thing again, probably get in shape too late, probably go, manage to do it, but look exactly the same because you haven't had that building phase that you needed over Christmas. So having a look at that longer term process is super, super crucial, which I think a lot of people do miss out on that for sure. And they end up looking the same and making it hard for themselves every year as well, right?
Yeah. That's the thing, is that yo-yo diet. If you don't have the plan, in essence after the plan and then after that plan, you're going to fall into a trap because you're never going to be 100% satisfied with where you've got to. You're always going to think you want a bit more, or you get a bit complacent, or you spend a little bit more time. And anything left open-ended that needs to be completed in an open-ended time frame is going to take longer than a timestamp.
Yeah.
100%. So Yeah, and I think that the one big thing that I always do like if I were to set up someone right now today, set someone up with a plan where they want to cut this summer. I'm like, okay, they want to cut this summer. I'm immediately, through obviously communicating with them as well, but as soon as they say that, my immediate turn of phrase is they're probably going to want to do the same thing next summer. So my mindset is there's nothing I can do to control the pre-setup for this cut phase. So this cut phase is going to be, we're going to basically use the scientific textbook methodology to get you in condition for summer, right? Because I don't have any data on you as an individual unless you have been working with a coach and you can give it to me, which is very rare unless they're like a slightly more advanced athlete. Then it's like, right, after that, this is what we're doing, with the assumption that, okay, if we're going to spend X amount of time after that in this phase, which is going to then set you up next summer, we're going to look at starting this cut here, because if you're going to want to be in shape for that same time frame, we're going to set you up here. You're going to be set up there. You're going to start it there. You're going to be ready there.
Yeah.
So yeah, could not agree with you more. I think any coach nowadays that doesn't periodize people's plans, at least for the next year ahead.
Well, it makes life harder for themselves, really. Because if you don't plan it properly, you're coming into next year with, like, again, an awkward time frame. It's like, we can't really manage this very well now. So, yeah, that's super, super crucial. And it's that's one thing. That's the only thing I see with clients that leave the service, actually, that I've worked with in the past. The clients that come back, it's normally because they have they've either set bigger or better goals. There's a few reasons why they'll come back, but one of the big ones is when they haven't reset that year plan. They haven't really planned it themselves. That's crucial, because that's kind of the beginning of everything. Like, if you don't know what's going on, when it's going on, what the timelines are, the deadlines, you actually don't know what you're doing now. And there's no urgency, there's no direction right now. So it's that's a big problem. And especially in summer, when someone can get carried away and you kind of don't know what you're doing with your customer.
You can fall out of routine so easily in summer as well.
100%.
I was having a chat with someone this morning, and I said to them, summer is one of those times where it can be so easy to think that going to the gym, you're going to, but I'll waste being outside. And it's the wrong attitude to have. Get yourself in the gym for that 1 hour. You've then got the rest of the day to go and enjoy the beer gardens, assuming, like, obviously, like, around work and all of that stuff. 1 hour in the gym. Then if you want to go out and enjoy the beer gardens, not saying that you have to drink or anything like that, but if you want to go out and enjoy the sun, there is still time there. Don't let your training and your nutrition and the things that are actually going to do you long-term good fall second just because the sun's out in the UK. Yeah. You will definitely have time. No one has ever once sat back and gone, I wish I didn't train as much as I did this summer because I didn't sit in the sun once. It's just not happened. Right. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's my, I think, reckon final 2 cents on the matter for summer.
Yeah, summer's a tough one. I mean, one thing I would say about summer as well is, whenever someone says, I'm struggling to manage things around summer, it doesn't always have to be kind of loads and loads of food and drink.
No.
People say this about holidays as well. Like, there's way more to life than food and drink. Like, when people go to, like, an all-inclusive holiday and all they do is drink and eat, all I'm thinking personally is, like, there's so much more. There's so much more experience to life than just eating food. Like, we've eaten a lot of food, right? We've eaten a lot of good food. I've been to a lot of nice restaurants, and don't get me wrong, food is great. But it's not everything.
No.
Same with drinking. I've done a lot of drinking in my time. I was in uni for 4 years. I've done a lot of drinking. It's not that good. It doesn't make your life that much better. Like,
there's a reason I don't do it much now.
Yeah. Especially as bodybuilders. Like, we've seen off some serious food, man. And we've had, post show and stuff, our food cravings have been the highest anyone's could ever be. The food noise, and I know it's like a newish term that people are saying these days, but we've been that. We've had the most satisfaction someone could ever have from food. And it's still not, like, there's so much more to life outside of that. So that's one thing I'd also like to say, because I think people get carried away. Like, they go on holiday booking it solely for the food, solely for the drink, and it's like, explore the country, see the bloody views, see the crazy scenery, the animals that are there. There's so much more to life than that.
It's because that's a typical thing with us Brits as well. Us Brits, 100%. Because I see cliche videos on TikTok all the time, stuff like that. If you go, like, for me, when I go abroad, I'm very, very, very interested in trying the local cuisine, things I can't have here.
100%.
Baffles me when I see people going abroad and it's just like
Chinese
chicken nuggets and chips, or Chinese,
that's even worse,
or pizza. The only exception for that is when I go to Spain. Me and my family go to the same place every year. There's a really authentic Italian-run Italian pizzeria, and we do all get one because they do 24-inch pizzas. We get one as a novelty for all of us to share. Sometimes I have it myself, but anyway. But that's a novelty thing. One day we'll have a night in, might play cards out on the balcony, and we'll have one massive pizza that we share. Do you know what I mean? That's
I mean, good food's good food, right? I'm a pizza guy.
Yeah.
I love pizza.
Oh,
I get pizza everywhere.
but every other night, I'm thinking, oh, paella.
Yeah, you want to get the local
Or
food, right?
they've got the calamari or the like stuff like that. I'm not like I would never go somewhere in Spain like seaside beach restaurant. What do you want? I'll have the burger and chips, please.
No, I look for that, even though I don't eat meat, so that kind of narrows my choice down a little bit. But whatever country I'm in, I'm always trying to get the local cuisine. I don't want to leave that country having not felt like I've experienced it to the fullest. So, like in Poland, it's pierogies. There's some other stuff as well. Some of the other countries I've been to, like Budapest, that was langosh. I absolutely love langosh. Do you know what langosh is?
I've been to Budapest, but I went on a mate's stag do, so I don't remember much food.
But even then, I still try and get the local cuisine. But yeah, fried bread, it's really good. But yeah, whatever country I'm in, I'm always trying to get the local cuisine.
Yeah.
But even then, there's like a limit to like the enjoyment. And even it's actually quite a short amount of time as well when you're on holiday, when you think about it, right? If you're going away, looking at a massive all-inclusive holiday, you're eating probably half an hour, 45 minutes maybe at the table, and it's like, what about all the other time? Like food is still a very small part of
and it should be a cool
experience.
I think, again, I see this when people, I'm very much one for kind of like, especially like when you're on holiday, if it's a local area, I'm more one for like, just when dinner times come around, just go out and go somewhere.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people, like I've seen and been around, even my family, when they're planning dinner at lunch, I'm like, why don't we eat lunch first?
That's interesting.
But we're eating lunch, they're talking about what we're going to have for dinner, and I'm just like, but let's have lunch first. Like, we're thinking about the food that we're going to eat after this food.
Yeah. I mean, I am slightly biased with what I've just said there because my perception on food, I've been on a very high calorie diet for the majority of my life. I've like eaten a lot of food. So like I've had it all. I've like, but at the same time, I have been in the depths of prep where I wake up dreaming of pizza. Like I've seen both sides of it. But even then, my opinion still is, if you're in a different country, you want to get the whole experience. You want to like experience everything. You want to do stuff. You want to have fun stuff that you're always going to remember. You're not going to remember all the food. You're not, a lot of that you're going to forget.
Very rarely.
Yeah, I think back at my first ever all-inclusive holiday, and I'm like, all I can remember is the fish that was in loads of oil, and it just messed my stomach up. That's all I remember.
Agreed.
I don't remember like the nice food. No. So yeah, that's something I personally would say. Food is not everything. If you're in this very small box where like all you're thinking about with your holidays, food and booze, it's like there's so much more to life than that. But
there's issues. I think it goes back to what you said at the start, which I think encapsulates it perfectly. Is if that is your rationale for going on holiday, it's a complete escape from reality. So in essence, you're just escapism. You've got issues you need to resolve at home. You need to make your life more comfortable, enjoyable in-house, where you're spending most of your time. So you're not desperate for that break.
I mean, it sounds drastic, but some people's holidays are like 2, 3, 4 grand. Yeah. Like, honestly, some people would be better off putting that money towards like something that's actually going to better their life long term sometimes.
Yeah.
And doing like maybe a cheaper weekend break as their holiday and actually using those funds to benefit their life, I love so my personal preference is I actually get quite bored 3, 4 days into a week holiday. I'm like raring to go. So for me, a weekend away is good. I've recharged the batteries. That's normally when I get my best ideas.
City breaks for me.
I'm ready to get back and continue building what I'm doing at home with business, with my own health and fitness, whatever hobbies. I want to get straight back to it. So that's my I like to think I've built like a cool life for myself. I'm pretty proud of that, but I think a lot of people should do the same. In my opinion, they should be focusing more on their life at home rather than escaping it. But I know we've spoken about that already. But yeah, man, that's summer. That's Can we just talk about how massive you look on the video here as well? Man, you've got me. You've got me here big time.
It's all right. I think. Well, I'm now. Yeah, I've got 2 weeks. Well, when this comes out, actually,
you would have probably already started.
I will. I'm starting on the 15th. So actually, no, this podcast will come out next Sunday.
Still got abs?
Somewhat, yeah.
Go on.
I do. No, I'm not doing it.
Go on. Turn into OnlyFans.
No, because I'll lift it now and it will be like washed and flat. Look on my Instagram. No, but no, I'm very happy with the setup position. I mean, like Cuba said to me, he reckons will probably he thinks like looking at me like maybe 25-ish pounds max to come off, including obviously reality is you grow slightly into the starter prep as well. So. Yeah, it's
exciting, man.
It's not going to be a hard prep to do at all, but
exciting.
No, heaviest I've ever been right now by quite a fair way.
And you're still lean as well.
Yeah, compared.
Doesn't want to get the abs out, but
no, don't want to get the abs
out. He says he's lean.
But yeah, so no, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's good, man. It's good.
Fantastic. I'm still getting tan mogged by everyone in my life. Everyone. I'm like, Bex tan mogs me every day. You tan mogged me in the podcast. Fed up of getting tan mogged, but I I'm too lazy with tanning
I
stuff.
mean, I'd rather have
I'm-
the size than the tan, to be honest. And you've definitely got
Yeah.
the size on me there. But there we go.
But no, well, you've still done more classic shows than I have, so you know you're still more seasoned.
Yeah, well, placed not very well in all of them as well. I got to crack that in the future, but yeah,
Oh, my man.
cool.
All right.
We'll catch you all in the next one.
Yes, thank you for watching. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And I was about to end it like a check-in. It's going to be like, if you need me, you know, drop me a message. Any questions or concerns?
Any questions, let me know.
Any questions, drop them in the comments, please. Take care, guys. Cheers.